Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Members Pod. Charly, it's so funny not being in person with you right now because I saw you only 2 days ago. It's such a shame that we're not doing this in person.
It is a shame. We saw each other at the Cipriani. For those who know, you know. It was a beautiful day. Arynne literally jetted by. It was a drive-by appearance
It was
by
a
Arynne.
drive-by.
There was an exchange made. Well, actually, rather not an exchange because I didn't give anything to you, but I accepted something from you. It was not drugs. It was a dress that I
was
loaned
say, you're
you.
making this sound so bad, and
Sketchy.
Yes,
That's how I wanted to sound. I wanted people to be like, "What's happening?" I accepted my dress back, freshly dry cleaned. Thank you. That I had loaned you for. What was the event that you had? The Turning Point event, was it?
Yes, I was speaking at Turning Point's Young Women's Leadership Conference, and I wanted to have an extra outfit just in case. I wound up borrowing clothes from people and wearing my own clothes.
But you wore my dress to dinner, I think, right?
I did wear your dress to dinner at Cafe Milano.
Which is a favorite of mine.
Yes, Cafe Milano in Washington, D.C. So we got some good use out of it.
I was just reminiscing about because everybody went to college in D.C. I went to American University, which I think now is the most liberal college campus in the country, which is lovely.
Wow.
I know. It's so expensive, too.
So think about how many other colleges you had to beat for American to be the most liberal. You had to beat Wesleyan, all those lesbians. You had to beat Brown. You had to beat Berkeley.
Yeah, how?
That's
you know what?
crazy.
It is interesting. I wonder how they go about, how exactly is it determined? This is the most liberal. Maybe it's based upon, LGBTQ accepted students, or maybe it's how many different types of, functions they have on campus that cater to minority students, or, what types of grants they often give up.
Registration.
Yeah, political affiliations. Yeah, because obviously a DC campus has to have more, I would say, politically interested students than others, right? I'll be honest, when I was in college, I was completely just I was involved in my sorority life. I was involved in my internship life. I was already set on being on television. I was the furthest thing from being political. So I stayed out of, I guess, what was probably still a liberal environment. I was not a part of it. So that's good news. But where was I? Where was I on this?
I don't know. But I was going to say before we moved on to, we were talking about how we saw each other this weekend in person, which is always fun.
Yeah, but then I said you gave me the dress and, Cafe Milano.
Cafe Milano.
I was just reminiscing. You know what? I do have an uncanny knack to bring us back to the point, not just me and you. I just in general, people were like, how did you do that? I'm like, I don't know.
It's amazing how you could forget and then remember.
No, I loved Cafe Milano. There's so many great restaurants in DC. Did you ever eat at Old Ebbitt's Grill?
I have. I didn't eat there. I got a drink there, but I recently went to Minetta Tavern. That was so good.
Wait, Minetta Tavern's in New York, though? Or do they have one in DC now?
There's a new one in DC. It's really good.
I didn't know that.
Yes, but I was going to say on the college front, it's so funny. I didn't know that that makes sense, but when I was in college, I was editor-in-chief of Penn Political Review. So I was always very, very interested in politics. I was actually asked to be the president of College Republicans.
No way.
And I wasn't even an active member, but I declined because I thought it would compromise the integrity of being in charge of a bipartisan magazine. So I didn't do it.
It would have.
Except today, I'm sure, head of Penn Dems, it could also be editor-in-chief of Penn Political Review. But I was always very interested in that stuff, which is very funny. But I also did love my sorority life, sort of, but I never, lived in the house or did any. I guess I never really got too involved. I did like being a sorority girl.
What sorority were you in?
I was in Tri-Delts, which was very blonde. And very not Jewish. But by the way, I was given feedback to not talk about being Jewish early on in the pod, and I just did it. Oops. So there goes the buzzer.
When were you given feedback? Because you talk about it every episode. So
every
I'm not
episode.
Sure. Yeah. So when did you get this feedback? And
I got this feedback this last week from my brother.
Oh, so. from a listener or a viewer?
From a listener that is a family member. One of our 5 listeners.
Whatever. No. What do you mean? One of our 5? We have
one of our 5 million listeners.
I actually have had a few people who've been like, "I'm loving it," and I'm like, "Thank
you."
We are certainly making waves. In fact, it was interesting. We're all over the place. This. Welcome to the ADD podcast.
Welcome to August.
Which I do feel is a very normal way to speak these days. No one stays on topic anymore. So hopefully most of our listeners are also ADD, which I have to imagine everybody is these days. So welcome to the club. The members club? The ADD members club. Woo! Okay, too much caffeine. Anyways,
we're gonna go back to, we're gonna leave the college topic.
No, I have one thing left to say, and
I'm
that is
sorry.
that the girl who was sitting, now we're coming full circle back to Cipriani. The girl who was sitting at the table next to me, you noticed there was like the two people at the table that we were like semi-chatting with. I did not know her before I sat down. And she was like, "Oh my gosh, are you Charly?" And I was like, "Yes." She's like, "I love the things you say." She's like, "You know what? I just like totally appreciate how open and unfiltered you are. And I've been following you for like a year now." And I just love hearing that type of thing from people because, I mean, I think that's kind of like what we've, built a bit of our brand on, Arynne, just being unapologetically ourselves, not being afraid of the, you know, pushback that comes a part of like, saying things that a lot of people are thinking but are too scared to say out loud. So when I always get approached like that in public, it makes me feel good. So shout out to my new friend from Cipriani, who I now also follow on Instagram. So
Oh,
yay.
cute. I liked your story with your matching bags.
Oh,
That
I
was
know,
very
right? And then we
cute.
also had Chanel bags. So like two conservative girls carrying our Chanel bags.
But I actually think I had this discussion with people over the weekend when I was in the city about how I feel like actually being, controversial or talking about taboo topics has actually become mainstream now. That I actually think we're
Yes.
getting to the point where we're seeing people, I'd say especially on the right. I think the left is actually reverting to the mean and normalizing because they realized they lost so badly last
Yeah.
year because they shifted the Overton window way too far. And the right is now doing the opposite, while Gavin Newsom and others are actually coming back to the middle. Rahm Emanuel has been doing his whole podcast circuit because he obviously wants to run in 28. And they're all saying, no, men shouldn't be on women's sports teams. And of course, we should have a closed border. Like, they're starting to sound normal
Of
again.
course. What do you mean, of course?
Yeah, and now on the right, people are saying just the absolute craziest things to get attention because now saying just the basic right-wing items is not getting you the same pull anymore. And I think it's a really cheap way for people to get attention. I think it's really dangerous. And we're seeing it's leading to all kinds of hate, whether it's against women or minorities or whatever it is. And like, I hate to list that off because it sounds like, oh, it sounds so liberal to say, but it is true.
No, it's true.
It's true. And I think it's a really dangerous part of the movement. So I just want to mention that. I will say just on the topic.
I think any extremes, doesn't matter what side you're on, any extremes are not effective. And most oftentimes they don't make sense. So I totally agree with you. I think like just doing it as like a grifting, from a grifting standpoint, or, to try to create like clickbaity viral moments is just lame. And hopefully people have hopefully learned their lessons already in some senses. But yeah, definitely not here for that either.
It's also, I think, the worst, most unpopular parts of the right that are getting very extreme right now, right? So the topics where we're never going to get like the Maha moms or the moderate voters that voted against the deep state or for Donald Trump. Like, those people are not going to be attracted to these really extreme parts of the movement. And that's what's getting very loud. And I think right now the horseshoe is getting, the ends of the horseshoe are getting very wide. So not so fun, but we want to talk about some fun things. I will say when I was in New York also, I did get a lot of people coming up to me to say, "You always make me laugh." And a lot of them said, you're like, we'll send you in the group chat and, half the group is liberal, but they can't deny that you make them laugh.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear also because I think people are tired of being angry about things and they want to feel happy,
Gosh, being angry is such a long, miserable existence. Like there were times I feel like in my past job where I was expected to come with like a hot take. You know what I mean? And it's like sometimes you don't need a hot take just to feel like, you want to speak out against something. I don't need to say something that like is ultra original or coming from this place of like vitriol or, of your point, like anger. It's like sometimes it's just like having the conversation and talking about it and letting people like understand that there is like a very much a middle ground to come to on certain issues. I think that's important. Not always coming across as like, oh, I'm the angry woman who just needs to like, wake up and spew my. It was just, it was a lot. So, and it wears on you. You're like, okay, I can't do this anymore. This isn't even me. I'm not an angry person. I generally don't really even, I know this sounds a little bit maybe, I don't want it to sound superficial, but I don't care about all that much. I do, but I don't. You know what I mean? I'm pretty chill.
You are very chill.
Most things can be figured out, and I am not the one that needs to jump in and dictate how everyone's supposed to think or feel.
Well, I feel like also the left used to do this a lot more, where they were the ones where they blamed it. It's cope, right? There's left-wing cope and right-wing cope, and cope leads to anger, right? So I feel like the left blamed things for the last decade on the patriarchy and racism and, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And now the right is doing it with the Jews or Epstein files, things like that, where everyone's just getting angry about something. And I think some of it on the right is we're very used to being the underdog, and now we're in power. Now it's time for us to just get things done. I think a lot of people want to distract from the fact that they actually contribute absolutely nothing to society. And so instead of giving you fun content or teaching you something or helping you how to think, they just want you to be angry to stay addicted to their content. So I would just say, be wary. And we're going to always talk about fun things, happy things, things that make you feel good. Speaking of things that make you feel good, Charly, have you seen what is being thrown on the court at WNBA games?
Oh, I like that. Is this an ad for sex toys? Because speaking of things that make you feel good, because yes, I did see what was being thrown on the court, or what was thrown. There's, only one so far. Maybe more to come.
More to come.
There was a green dildo.
And you can see the object, the block right there. And the object comes, that green thing bounces, and it goes to the sideline. We're not sure where it came from. Yeah, and no one's picked the object up yet. You guys, oh my gosh, okay. Inappropriate. Get him out of here, whoever it is.
I like that it was green also,
bright green.
I've never seen a green dildo in my life. I hope to never personally see a green dildo up close. My life has taken a turn for the worse if there was a bright green dildo in my life. But one was thrown onto the court for the WNBA game. And Sophie Cunningham, who we already have given props to, because she is just, speaking of chill, she is ultra chill, and it's getting her so much fandom within the WNBA because she's just there to play the game and be a cool, normal, hot girl who's athletic.
And whose wig doesn't fall off.
No wig on Sophie Cunningham. She was she tweeted out, guys, please stop throwing dildos on the court. You're going to hurt one of us. So good.
I really like Sophie. So if anyone else had done it, I would have been making fun of what they were saying, except because it's her, I gave her a pass.
No, that should have been an opportune moment for a lot of these players to be you know what? This is hilarious. Of all the things someone could have thrown on the court, they threw a dildo, which we know why, right? It's obvious.
No, Charly, I would love for you to just lay it out.
I'm not going to lay it out. I'm not. This is not the time or the place for me to. I'm just saying we know why. So that's all. Arynne, you can be the one to say why if you feel so inclined. But
teaching is not a part of my life. No.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Well, this is not a moment that we wish to teach. We want everyone to dig deep within themselves and wonder why a dildo could possibly be thrown onto the court.
Deep within yourself. Deep within. Yeah.
Very deep. Deep. Bright green dildo deep. I will say that. That is something I will say.
The dildo was it was long. It was big.
Do they make small dildos? Do they?
I don't know.
You know what? I haven't done enough research. I've never done any research, in fact, on dildos. Again, thank you, and I hope to never. But would they make a small dildo, a micro penis dildo? Who's buying that?
I actually prefer to refer to those as a macropenis. Sounds a little fancier.
Macropenis.
A macropenis.
Sounds like it's dead. Sounds like it's dead.
It sounds like a Greek archaeological
site. Or
site.
you pulled it off of a dead body and
a macropenis. Oh God. I think it sounds very fancy, actually.
Okay, well, we'll let you have the necropolis, and I will.
Oh God, how dare it take the curse back? But anyways, the amount of entertainment the WNBA has given us this last year has been tremendous. I'm so thankful to them. Maybe they should get paid more because everyone else is making money off of this now because they're so entertaining. But I will say the entertainment has nothing to do with any of the basketball games. It has nothing to do with any of the sport.
That's not true. Caitlyn Clark has brought us a lot of really interesting moments that have everything to do with basketball. Now,
Yes.
she would
No,
be.
you're right. I know.
So we can't completely discredit. We got to give props to Caitlyn Clark. She's tremendous. I wish she wouldn't be injured as much as she would be, because right now the only great moments are not basketball related, because Caitlyn Clark is not able to play in most of the games so far this season.
That's what they deserve. They don't deserve her. She's better than this. I hope she leaves and starts her own league.
No.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
come on. Arynne, this is one of your angry moments. We want the WNBA to succeed. We do, but we need them to like get it together, because
No, you're totally right. Instead of saying I hope they fail, because that's very negative and we're going to be positive in this episode, I'm just going to say I hope it continues to feed us all of this content that is so endlessly entertaining, including, am I back? Okay, I'm back. My internet connection is very poor in this. I am in the Hamptons, so poor me for my very bad internet connection in this like 5-star hotel where I'm being put up right now for an event. So like, oh, sad me. I'm like, I look out the window. By the way, like the water in the room is like, this is the complimentary water.
Oh, beautiful.
It's so fun. And they
Is
have
that glass?
It is glass.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. Although, did you see the studies that say that glass bottles actually have more plastic in them than plastic bottles?
Arynne,
so we
I'm
just
exhausted.
might as well. We just should kill
exhausted.
ourselves.
I don't know what to do anymore. I truly don't know what to do. It's like you take
I'm
something,
gonna start
you think
injecting. I think, you know what, like a vaccine. I think we should start injecting ourselves with microplastics to become immune to them.
there actually is a procedure you can have done now. I was just looking it up, that you can get the microplastics removed from your bloodstream.
Through like a heavy metal detox.
It's very expensive. I think it's something like $13,000. But you can actually, I don't know how it works yet. I have not looked so much into it. It's not something that I would do at this point. I think there's a lot of other longevity driven, cool things that you can do that might be more worth your while, bang for your buck. But if you are interested in really like getting those microplastics out, it's available.
Wow.
Somewhere at this
while
point.
we're already having a raunchier episode than we've had before, should we talk about how Brian Johnson, on the topic of microplastics, Brian Johnson tweets about how many microplastics he finds in his semen? And it is, have you seen these tweets?
I have not seen the exact tweets, but I also don't follow Brian Johnson all that closely, because he drives me nuts.
Yes, these tweets are so out of control. This is male longevity clickbait, where he talks about the amount of microplastics in his semen. Like, he knows what he's doing.
How many microplastics does Brian Johnson have in his semen? I mean, this man is living. He's a living test tube. He doesn't live a real life. All he does is experiments on himself. He just stays in this box of like doing this, doing that. I mean, his whole life is driven around longevity, but it's interesting because your goal is to live forever. But what kind of life are you living when all you care about is living forever?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the great irony of it, isn't it? That you're missing your whole life by trying to make it longer.
Right.
There's something very sad to that. But I actually, Charly, can I sidebar us and tell people the story of when I was supposed to be at a dinner with Brian Johnson and I wound up at your apartment instead?
Oh my gosh, yes, please. This was great.
This was in February. I was supposed to go to a 20-person, this intimate, what was told to me as a Brian Johnson dinner, right? So it's supposed to be a dinner discussing longevity. And the friend of mine who was bringing me as her +1 was a little tied up with some stuff that was going on. So very tied up with some media matters. And so last minute, this very good friend who is dealing with one of the biggest PR crises that you could possibly deal with sends me a message saying, go to the dinner anyways without me. And it's very kind to say, please worry about yourself. I'm really not thinking about this dinner. But I think, you know what? I'll go. It's February. How am I dressed for dinner? I am wearing a black leather skirt, black tights, knee-high boots with heels.
Very New York-y.
Yes, we're in New York City. Sorry, I should have set the stage for that. A fur jacket. And I go to this location that is just happens to be a few blocks from Charly's apartment. And I walk in and I'm in a spa. And I'm very confused. And
specifically, you were in Othership.
Oh, Othership. Yeah, that's right. But I didn't even know what I was going to. I just looked up the address.
Which is a bathhouse for everybody who doesn't know. It is a bathhouse.
You're right. It's not even a spa. It's literally a bathhouse. I walk in and I have some breathy front desk girl. And I say, is this the Brian Johnson event? And the woman responds to me, yes. like the breathy bathhouse front desk girl
very
voice.
Serene.
Yes. And she says, yes. And I say, where is the dinner? And she said, Brian is giving a speech in the sauna right now. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm in this entire winter outfit. And I had my makeup done. I thought I was going to a dinner. I have fake eyelashes on. I look at her. I'm like, my eyelashes are going to be like falling off my face. I look at her. I'm like, there's no way for me to walk into a sauna in this outfit. That's not happening, right? And she says, well, we do have, and like it's all breathy, we have these disposable single-use bathing suits. And I think, okay, let's see what this is. Maybe it's worth it. Maybe I should buy this bathing suit and try to go in. Because also, I don't want Brian Johnson saying my name, or anyone for that matter. I don't want to be invited to an intimate event to be a no-show. Like, that's a bad look. She brings out what I could best describe as a hospital gown material bathing suit with bottoms, where I'm thinking, like, I look at her and I say, my tits are going to be at the floor if I try to wear this, because this is not holding my boobs up. This is not happening. Okay. And I'm like, what should I do? And she says, and she like does not know what to do. She's just frozen in time. She said, everyone else brought bathing suits. I'm like, well, great. I call Charly and I go, Mom, pick me up. Pick me up. So I head over to Charly's.
Like a good mother would, I picked you up, directed you to my apartment, and we had ourselves a little girls' night. But yes, and then remember the next day, you were unable to attend, and then I went to Brian Johnson's Don't Die Summit, and that's where I was really exposed to how much of I'm not going to speak unkind about him, but how obsessed he is in my opinion, the most unhealthy of ways. Like, they just do not make sense. But I also want to mention, Arynne, because we're talking about the microplastics in his semen. He recently shared, this was back in June, his ejaculate contains a higher concentration of microplastics compared to his blood. He mentioned that while he had reduced microplastics in his blood by 93%, his semen still had 239% the amount found in his blood, which is really interesting because if this is indeed true, how many microplastics are in regular men's semen? And should we be worried? Should our future children be worried?
We're just going to have plastic bottles as babies in the future. That's what's going to happen. I hope mine's Diet Dr. Pepper.
I hope mine's Diet Coke.
But also, it being that greater percentage of his blood, what does that even mean? Is that still even a lot? Is it a little? I don't even know.
He had reduced it in his blood by 93%. I don't know how much that means he still had in his blood. Like, just because you reduced it, were you already at 300%? So I don't know. I don't know why it would navigate its way, the microplastics, towards your semen of all places, but this is a question for a professional.
I think, like, how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know. And I hope that I never have to think about Brian Johnson's semen again. But I have a sinking feeling this won't be the last time that we have to discuss this topic. But and I'm sorry to absolutely everybody for listening to this conversation. But I think Charly one day, or you're welcome. You're so welcome.
I was going to say, I think it's more of a you're welcome moment.
We always want to provoke your thoughts. We want you to think differently and bring you with the hard-hitting news.
I think one company that was trying to get people to think differently, which we touched on last week, was American Eagle trying to rebrand. Because remember, American Eagle used to be like one of the premier brands. I mean, if you could not afford Abercrombie, you were going to American Eagle. I mean, first it was Abercrombie, then it was Hollister. If you could afford none of the above, you were going to American Eagle, which I was generally not shopping at Abercrombie or Hollister, except for the one time I had my tonsils removed late in high school. My mom felt bad for me because I lost a tremendous amount of weight. I was like super skinny, like total goals. And I could fit in none of my clothes, and she let me go buy some jean skirts at Hollister, and I was like, yes.
That's so good. I'm also so jealous you got your tonsils out, but also sounds like a great hack, and I should go get my tonsils taken out.
You should. Well, if you get strep throat enough, it might be worth your while, which I did. So American Eagle used to be cool, no longer cool. They brought Sydney Sweeney into the picture. Suddenly, their stock is skyrocketing. Sydney Sweeney looking hot AF in their ads talking about her great jeans. Obviously, we know the fallout that came as a result of that. People calling it Nazi propaganda, blah, blah, blah. So finally, American Eagle's like, should we respond to this? Yes, we should. And I am so happy that American Eagle responded in the way that they did. They said simply, Sydney Sweeney has great jeans, is and always was about the jeans, her story. We'll continue to celebrate how everyone wears their AE jeans with confidence, their way. Great jeans look good on everyone, which thank God. Last thing we would have wanted was an apology from American Eagle saying, oh, everybody, we're so sorry for offending you. When really everyone needs to relax. Because it was a great ad and clearly it did them some good. So good on American Eagle for not apologizing to anybody.
I'm so happy they finally learned, and they're showing this was a model for all these other Fortune 500 companies. You don't bend the knee to the woke mob, because also the people who bend the knee and show any sort of weakness, they don't get forgiven. That's what we saw, right? Anybody who ever kowtowed, they still got punished. So the idea is you don't let the bully you. You punch the bully back in the face. Except it's not even punching a bully back in the face. It's just standing tall for yourself and being proud. And I'm so happy about this. This is awesome. Sydney Sweeney is very interesting because a few years ago, she had a video where she was doing like line dancing with her family at a family reunion. And in the background of the video, there were MAGA hats, and some of her family members were wearing Trump.
No, I remember this now. I remember this, yes.
Yeah.
And she got hammered.
And you know what? I think she kept the post up. I'm pretty sure the post is still there. She kept it up. This is her family. And now this week, we discovered that she is registered as a Republican in the state of Florida, which isn't surprising because generally, I think it's the same way as college professors. If they don't shove their politics down your throat, if you don't know what their politics are, they're probably a conservative. And that is true also in Hollywood. If someone's silent on things, they're definitely not a leftist. They're not a liberal. They might have no politics, but more than likely they're actually leaning to the right. So good on Sydney Sweeney. Of course, she's ours.
You know what's interesting? You, me, and Sydney Sweeney Arynne, all three of us girls, are all registered Republicans in the state of Florida.
Oh, wow.
All of us.
We're basically Sydney Sweeney. This is what we're saying.
So basically, we should be in what jean company wants us to model our great jeans?
No, now I want Abercrombie. I want the fancier one.
Okay, you take Abercrombie. I'll take Hollister.
That makes sense.
I'll do the drop down in a homage to my tonsillectomy.
I don't know that kids today will ever understand what it was like to go to the shopping mall and drag your parents into these stores where it was so dark. I remember my parents were like, I need a flashlight. Now I would do the same exact thing. Sometimes I go to restaurants, I'm like, I need a flashlight to see the menu, okay? I'm only 32 years old.
Or I'm like, can you turn down the music?
You have no idea the number of times I ask restaurants to turn down the music.
Here.
Why am I screaming across the table? I'm going to need to get my tonsils out. My throat is going to be destroyed. So yeah, kids will never understand that. Oh, such good memories.
Well, one more thing on Sydney Sweeney. Donald Trump had to insert himself into the conversations because duh. And he went on Truth Social to say Sydney Sweeney, a registered Republican, has the, quote, hottest, in all caps, ad out there. It's for American Eagle and the jeans are, quote, flying off the shelves. Go get them, Sweeney. Sweeney. Is that her name, Sweeney? Sydney.
It's okay, guys. Charly has only been on TV forever.
On the other side of the ledger, Jaguar did a stupid and seriously woke advertising. That is a total disaster. Blah, da, 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 da. Go on. At the end, thank you for your attention to this matter.
I love it. It's so good. You just know the family members that were in the MAGA hats in the back of that video from a few years ago. You know the family chat is blowing up that Trump mentioned her on Truth Social. That is making the rounds.
I love it.
The family chat is on fire right now. So good for Sydney Sweeney. Appreciate her. And I know we're running out of time, Charly, but you sent me an article that I thought was really interesting about, I didn't know about this, about Texas banning cell phones in school.
Yeah. So Greg Abbott has passed a bill banning cell phones in classrooms in public schools throughout the state of Texas. And it really just was interesting to me because I know cell phones now, like in the age of, even elementary school students, I'm sure, up through high school students, much more prevalent than when we were in school. I mean, when I was in school, I remember being in high school and like casually, like from time to time texting on my phone, like the flip phone, whatever. Now, it's so much different. I mean, we're all glued to our phones. How do kids get any learning done when they constantly have not even just text coming through, but social media notifications constantly. I'm sure they're videoing in the classroom, like the teacher says something that's maybe like a little bit off the cuff and whatever, and just, trying to do their job. And next thing you know, they're on the internet, like saying something stupid. They're probably like, damn it, these stupid kids. So, no, I just thought it was really interesting and actually a really smart move to ban cell phones in public school classrooms, because I really can't imagine growing up in the world that this age of student is today. I just think it's a completely different atmosphere. I don't know. It actually makes me anxious to think about what kids are going through right now and how it's going to affect their lives later on.
Yeah. I mean, it's such brain rot. It's so bad for you. But with Greg Abbott getting rid of cell phones in classrooms, with American Eagle coming back, it's starting to feel like the early 2000s again.
Well, right. And also in just terms of fashion, I mean, the American Eagle coming back. But in fact, I love that now the trends that are coming back are things that we did. And now the younger generations are like, look at my new outfit. Look at this top that I discovered. You know those little tiny scrunchy tops? Do you remember those? They were like the little baby tees. They were mini, they were itty bitty, but they would expand when you put them on. Do you remember those?
Yeah. I was more of a layered lace cami girl. That was
I
my
never
look.
wore these baby tops, but I just remember them being like, they were just very fascinating because they were so tiny, yet they could fit the largest of person when put on. And I just saw a video on TikTok the other day, or I don't remember. Maybe no. It was an account that I follow on Instagram. They basically just like reenact things from back in the day, and like
I've seen this account.
I think it's called Over the Moon Far Away or something like that. And she was showing a video, like one of these kids like pretending that it was their discovery, like, oh, look at this thing that I have. And she was like, no, we did that.
We did this not that long ago.
Yeah.
It's not even from that long ago, but I'm all about it. I think fashion was
cyclical.
Yeah, it is cyclical, but also like I think there's something good about going back to, it was very feminine for the women, very masculine for the men. And it was also simpler. Like the way people dress now, we've had a very androgynous look of like sweatpants, you know? I feel like I don't like that, both on planes and I've actually started to dress up for my flight when it's not an overnight where I'm not trying to sleep, because I want to like present well when I'm in public. I'm not doing the athleisure anymore. And also, if you notice now, like celebrity, which is like
was that like a shot at those of us, aka me, that is still doing athleisure on flights? Because
no, it's not a shot. What I would say
I'm in athleisure right now, in fact, for the podcast.
Listen, I wear a lot of athleisure, but what I've realized, and I'm really enjoying doing this, is that dressing up more than I would, even just to get coffee with a friend or to go on a shorter flight, where it's like, a morning flight, it's easy and I'm going to meetings later, but I could have changed on the way. Instead, I'm wearing like a proper outfit and putting myself together. And it makes me feel better. And I've been enjoying it, that it doesn't feel uncomfortable, that I'm continuing to do this. And I'm encouraging others, like especially I work from home a lot, and even just working at home, just putting on the nice outfit or going out for a coffee. And Charlie's like, don't know what that's like. I spent so many years.
I'm just like, can I do this?
I spent so many years wearing athleisure because I was working in tech and it was very informal and I could wear what I wanted. I've been working at home for so long. But I've been really happy doing this. Also, when it comes to the way wealthy people dress, which is generally where fashion's coming from, right? Fashion comes from the runway and from celebrities, and that trickles down right through the country and through the world. And celebrities have been dressing like the Kanye, like I'm wearing a sweatsuit to Carbone look. And I'm so over that. I want it to be that you're wearing a nice outfit to go out and that you present for the world. And people just haven't been doing that the last like 5-10 years. And I think part of what's coming back is just like a nice presentation.
Well, I think a lot of it had to do with the pandemic, right? People started working from home. It was like for months we were all stuck inside and looking good for who? I mean, most of us didn't have anybody to impress. And it just perpetuated itself. People just kept on with it. Oh, now a lot of jobs turned remote, or, oh, athleisure has become more socially acceptable. Sneakers are now acceptable to wear out in place of heels. People started prolonging these style trends. And I think now finally we've just gotten to a place where people are like going the complete opposite direction and they're dressing up more than ever again. Like evening wear is back. Couture fashion is making a comeback among like more of the masses. I mean, it's not like I'm wearing like massive shoulder pads out on a regular basis, but you see a lot of these elements being incorporated into clothing that's accessible for all different types of people now. So I agree with you. I do like it, but for me right now, although I will say I've elevated my athleisure game, which still makes me feel good.
But even athleisure has gotten nicer.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, athleisure isn't like when you go walk past Aloe storefronts, athleisure now is transforming into normal clothing in a sense. It's just normal clothing that has like a slightly more comfortable air to it.
Yes. And I mean, a place like Miami, it's a funny example to give because people also dress so outrageously and inappropriately in Miami and like barely wear clothing. But I think there's something nice to the fact that because Miami has more of the South American culture and there are only two genders in South Florida, right? There's no confusing that. And men are men and women are women. And there are many places, the higher end spots, like if you go to Faena, if you're a woman, where even if you're in very expensive shoes, you cannot wear flats. They don't allow you in unless you're in heels. And
wait, the living room or not
to the living room? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not to just the hotel, but into the living room.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that, but I love that.
Yes. I love that. Yes. So I think we need a little more of that. Everyone's just been dressing the same. Like women's hair has gotten shorter, men's hair has gotten longer. We're all wearing the same sweatpants. And we've just like morphed into this androgenized version of a human. Even our language. I thought about this a lot recently where I'm giving myself a challenge to not use the word vibe, even though it's so easy. And we just don't use different vocabulary from each other anymore. The same way as, I'm decorating my new apartment, and instead of doing the classic neutrals that we've all had for so long, a lot of people are using color and mix and match patterns that kind of clash, but they actually go together very well. Like we're seeing a real resurgence in all of this.
Arynne, you are. I love you so much, but like everything that you're saying right now is just look at my background. Like, no neutrals. I'm sorry. So this is like what I am like living completely in right now is like a completely neutral environment. But there's nothing I can do about it. I already spent the money. So
you already spent and it looks great.
Maybe we'll do some colorful throw pillows, just for
or a
when you come over.
tapestry on the wall.
A tapestry. We won't even get into the tapestry conversation.
We will explain that to people another time. But there's the gold pop. You have But
whatever.
Your apartment, but you get my point. You hear what I'm saying.
I get it. Yeah, people are branching out a little bit more. We all kind of morphed into the same person for a while.
Yeah, and I think some of it's also, I thought about this a lot. I'm like, why do all of our apartments look the same? It's because we all rent and we're all told we can't paint the walls or put wallpaper up. And in my apartment, I decided, F it, I don't care. I'm also doing renter-friendly wallpaper, but I'm just doing it. I'm just going for it. So
I love it.
I know we're up against the clock right now for both of us. So I think we'll call it here for this week.
Let's call it. That's it. Okay, so have fun in the Hamptons.
Thank you so much. And it was great seeing you. Great talking. I was going to say great talking with everybody. We talked with no one but ourselves. But thank you all for listening. And we'll see you next week.
And also, I think we should just throw out a little suggestion. If anyone ever has anything they want us to talk about or cover, drop a comment. We love to hear from you.
Yes.
And nothing clearly, judging by this episode, is off limits. So throw it at us, whatever you want.
All right. See you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.